TheLandofIsrael.com and IsraelNationalNews.com present Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel. Live from the heart of Israel, it's Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem.
Shalom everybody and welcome back to Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem.
You know, Israel is a miracle. If that hasn't become clear tonight, it should be clear now. Israel's a miracle, and all of Jewish history is a supernatural phenomenon. What other nation has been separated from their homeland for over 2,000 years and remained a nation, let alone returned to their homeland? It's never happened. What other language, dead language, has ever been revived? It's never happened. There's no precedent in all of history. You know, I remember when I started the Israeli army, and it was the fulfillment of a dream. And while it was such an uplifting, incredible experience, there were a few guys in my unit who really thought that my kippah was a little too tight on my head, who thought I was a little bit crazy. How could I volunteer? You volunteered for this? What, are you crazy? And they would raffle off my passport. But listen, you know, I didn't understand. I didn't understand how they could possibly not be as happy and as honored as I was. So I remember going to one of my officers and asking him why they felt this way, why they were responding this way. And he said to me, "Don't judge." And he actually pointed to this week's Torah portion in his answer to me. He said, look at the Jewish people who left Egypt, and they went out into the desert. How did their food come? As manna coming down from heaven. Now, if you were in Egypt and you saw this, wow, that's a miracle. But if you're born out in the desert, there's no miracle to that. That's just nature. Every day your food comes as fried pancakes falling out of the sky, and there's no miracle there. And I said, I feel like I would have seen a miracle there. He said, really? Have you ever eaten an apple? I'll never forget. Until an apple is ready to be eaten, it's small and it's green and it's tart and it's inedible. And then once it's prepared for a human being to consume, colors and taste and nutrients and vitamins rush in, and it's such a beautiful creation. Yet some people eat apples and don't believe in God. He said, what you have to do is if you see a miracle, share that with them, and they'll share it with you. So I did that. I proudly went to them and said, I'm honored to serve in the first Jewish army since the times of King David. And I'll tell you, that resonates. That resonates with everyone. And that's really what we're here for tonight. That's what this show is all about, to say to the entire world that Israel is a miracle of God.
You know, you wonder, there are people that are pro-Israel, people that are anti-Israel, and you say, where did all this confusion come from? But the truth is, the Tanakh teaches us that as we approach the end of days, as we approach the redemption, the world will be confused. Truths will look like lies, lies will look like truths. Ishayahu, Isaiah the prophet says, Ha'am ha'olchin b'choshech ra'u or gadol. The nation that walks through darkness will eventually see a great light. And Ari and I are always trying to figure out, how are we going to bring this light to the world? So we had an idea. We said, why don't we bring two people that are almost exact opposites, polars on the spectrum. One man, Congressman Allen West. When you're around that man, you know that you're around someone great, a man of integrity, a hero, a man now of government, a man of influence, a war hero. And on the other side, Jackie Mason. And we wanted to see these two people come together, and God bless them. They created an exclusive video just for us on Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem, so please enjoy these beautiful defenders of Israel. Congressman West, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me, and welcome down here to not-so-sunny South Florida.
Jackie, thank you so much for being on Tuesday Night Live with us. I appreciate it very much.
Why not? Why not? I'm looking for nothing. People don't get this every day.
Israel has no political clout in the UN. We don't really have much oil. We don't have much money. Our military, if you take all the Arab militaries together, isn't that big. With all of the reasons not to support Israel, why do you still tell the American people to support Israel?
Well, there's an inextricable tie to who we are in the United States of America and the state of Israel. Never forget that when the modern-day state of Israel was established back in May of 1948, within 16 minutes, we were the first ones to recognize it. But when you look at the Judeo-Christian heritage and our faith tradition in America, it is based upon, things such as the Ten Commandments and a lot of the writings and the scriptures that come out of the Old Testament. So there's a bond between the United States and Israel that transcends what happens in the United Nations.
Only the United Nations have decided to become mindless and helpless and stupid and moronic, and these people who come from all the nations of the world are basically anti-Semites in their heart. They still hate a Jew, because you have to hate a Jew to be so prejudiced against them and so distorted in your values and your judgment of a situation as to see the Israelis as the aggressors when we offer them everything back, and they're killing Jews every single day, and we are the aggressors. Imagine if the mafia is coming to your house and shooting people in your house every day, and they blame you for trying to protect yourself. Only thing the Jews are doing is attempting to protect themselves.
Why would you tell America to support Israel?
Because you got to be insane not to support Israel. If let's assume it wasn't a Jewish state, you would still be nuts not to support a state like that. That's a great ally of America. That's an independent democracy. That's the only true democracy in the whole Middle East. That is a buffer against the dictators and the wretched characters who are trying to dominate that area, and the threats they are to America. In every respect, they are an ally of America and helpful to America and protective of America. And they do as much for us as we do for them.
Here's the question that's always on my mind, because I think realistically right now what the best thing America could do for Israel would be to release Jonathan Pollard. What are your feelings about Jonathan Pollard?
Well, as I've gone back and studied the Jonathan Pollard case, I make a very simple parallel to the gentleman that was released, the Lockerbie bomber. So if we can, in Western civilization, can release the Lockerbie bomber, who is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Americans, I think that we can allow Jonathan Pollard to return home.
What's the thing that makes you most proud about what Israel's done?
Most proud of what they've done is just to save the Jews. That's the first object, was to save the Jews from death and destruction in Europe. But not only that, they also saved the Arabs. They've saved the Arabs. It looks like they're at war with the Palestinians. Actually, they've saved the Palestinians. That's a misconception totally about the problem they are with the Palestinians. If we have a settlement that extends itself with one extra toilet or one extra kitchen, all of a sudden that kitchen becomes a threat to world peace, according to Barack Obama. Look, they extended a kitchen. Oh, look, 2 Jews moved in with a prayer shawl and a prayer book into the Palestinian territory. These are the most peaceful people in the world who live by the Bible, and that's all they live for is religion and the devotion to godliness, and they become a threat. Whereas there's suicide bombers every single day all over Israel, and Barack Obama doesn't notice that that's a threat. Killing people is no threat. Extending a kitchen, it became a threat. Like I did a show in Israel a few weeks ago. Did you read about it? I was a sensation. 2 weeks later in Egypt, the same jokes.
Well, I think it's the resilience of the Jewish people and the fact that when you look all through history, all that they have been confronted with in the 5,771 years of its existence, all the enemies that have come against it to try to destroy the people and also annihilate their existence, they have continued to persevere, and I think that is the greatest thing. And out of that tiny little country, think about all the greatness that has come out of there, the Nobel laureates, the great discoveries in biomedical technology and things of that nature. So that's why I'm very proud to stand with the state of Israel.
The Jews in general in Israel are the toughest in the world. Thank God that nobody depends on the Jews in Canada or in America to defend Israel. You ever see a tough Jew in this country or in the United States? I never saw that. In Israel, the Jews are tough. I saw them. I thought they were Mexicans. Did you ever see a tough Jew in America or here? I never saw a tough Jew. Every Jew I know almost killed somebody. Every Jew will tell you if he said one more word, he would have been dead today. What's that word? Nobody knows. Who ever saw a tough Jew? You ever see 4 Italians walking on the street and saying, "Watch out, there's a Jew over there"? You ever see anybody afraid to walk into a Jewish neighborhood because he might get killed by an accountant? I never.
Terrorism is a tactic, and a nation cannot go to war against a tactic. That would be just like saying we were fighting the blitzkrieg or the kamikaze. You're fighting against an Islamic totalitarianism, and in understanding that, you must understand their goals and objectives, and therefore you develop the right foreign policies, the right military policies, the right economic policies and strategies to defeat your enemies. And I think the most important thing is to identify this enemy and get away from the political correctness that is killing our country and definitely is causing Israel to have some concerns as well.
There's no such thing as an Israeli suicide bomber. Did you ever hear of a Jew in a settlement suddenly becoming a suicide bomber? No. So people who are no threat, who are bringing peace and love and religion and godliness, became a threat. But murderers, that's no problem. They're only murderers. They're dropping rockets every single day on Israel. That's not the problem. The problem is they extended the kitchen. That kitchen is killing them.
You and Ahmadinejad one-on-one in a brawl. No rules. Who would win?
I think the guy in the members-only jacket is going to be crying for uncle. I don't know how you say uncle in Persian, but he'll be crying it.
Murderers are coming to your house every day, killing people in your house. Are you entitled to know if they're coming into your house, at least see what they have there? Half of the time it's guns, and half of the time it's bombs. Are you allowed to separate the bombs from the soup? Are you have a right to determine that this is really soup, that it's not a bomb? But if we try to inspect it, just to find out what they're bringing into the country, when they're killing Israelis every day, this is disgusting that we interrupted the flow of their soup into the kitchen. And they train their children from the day they're 2 to become suicide bombers. And then they say Israel is the problem. Why? Because they're trying to still live on the site. Your right to live on the site is a problem. Not that you're doing something to somebody else, but you're the nerve for you to try to survive and to try to still be living. What right do you have to stay alive when people are trying to kill you? You're giving them trouble. If you had any decency and they're trying to kill you, you kill yourself and solve the problem. They offered me a job to perform in Palestine. They offered me $500,000. That's right. $500,000 plus funeral expenses.
If you want to really restore the land of Israel to the Palestinian people, the original Palestinians are the Jewish people, because there was Emperor Hadrian who changed the name from Judea to Palestine back in 73 AD. So this has nothing to do with Arab people. It has everything to do with what is right, and that's the rightful existence of the sovereign state of Israel.
If you had one message you would want to give to the American people as a representative of the government about Israel, what would that one message be?
That Israel is truly our best friend and ally in the Middle East, and if we allow Israel to fall, then the target becomes squarely on us. So we must stand, and we must do that which is necessary and proper to ensure that that sovereign state continues on for another 5,700 years if they wish to be so.
As a staunch supporter of Israel, putting out a positive message about Judaism and the Jewish people in Israel for decades, we'd like to award you with the Defenders of Israel Award tonight. Can we have a round of applause for Jackie Mason, please?
Well, thank you. I certainly deserve it. I've had Israel in my heart all my life, and I'm concerned about the future and the survival of Israel more than anything else. And when I tell a lot of people to think about Jackie Mason, I tell it to them as a joke. But when I tell you that they should all think of Israel and Israel's survival and to sacrifice ourselves to help and to make sure that Israel survives, that's a holy mission, because the Jews will never survive if Israel doesn't survive. Hi, I'm Jackie Mason, and I love Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem. I'm not just saying I love it, I'm crazy about it. I can't live without it. Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem, remember that. And while you're remembering that, remember another thing that's even more important, Jackie Mason.
Hey, hey, לשנה הבאה, לשנה הבאה, לשנה הבאה בירושלים. לשנה הבאה, לשנה הבאה, לשנה הבאה בירושלים. שנה הבאה בירושלים הבנויה. אוי לשנה הבאה בירושלים הבנויה. See you all in Jerusalem. אוי לשנה